Okay, that was weird. Jarrett ban agus Ushle, tem liam kelte 14,000. And today I'll be talking about Grand Theft Auto 3, the title that has aged the poorest out of all the franchise. Yep, even compared to 2.5D crazy psycho Arthur and sci-fi future anti-Elvis with a top-down camera, this game, further steeped in the modern reality of 2001, is so buggy and unpolished that, in my area, the game has gained a reputation as the one you should never play. I disagree. While the game is in need of more polish, I'd say it's more akin to a muddy, violent dog that nobody wants to house, rather than the slime-covered broken mess that was Dag's pelvis at launch. Quite frankly, the game does a good job of pulling me in, despite the subject matter and the time that it was released. In mid-1999 to 2000, Rockstar and Rockstar North started work on the fifth iteration of its cartoony criminal sandbox simulator, with one of the big boys from BMG at the forefront. It was set up for release in mid-2001. While unpolished even then, the game was allegedly planned to have decapitations, limb removal, a few of the sci-fi weapons from GTA 2, building explosions, and a small mission path that was an outright homage to violent religious extremists. But lo and behold, you couldn't call these topics irrelevant, and they were shoved to the forefront of American politics when extremists set about advertising their own violent sandboxes for sale. After the nations of the world were done crying or shrugging their shoulders, as the case may be, America retaliated, invaded the enemy's neighbors in search of more enemies, destabilization, and some oil, allegedly, and nuclear weapons, allegedly. Meanwhile, back home, the citizens hadn't gotten over the tragedy, and as such, many forms of media had to be edited or outright censored entirely in order to fit a massive portion of its audience's tastes. So now, in GTA 3, death had more of a bloody falling down animation. No real sci-fi weapons, no destructive building explosions. There was like one tiny plane, and it was total garbage to fly, and a cut, possibly religious extremist character that could be put back into the game as a random NPC with mods. And they had to set about cutting all this out instead of adding in a character creation menu. In fact, some people say that this re-edit by the game staff is what inspired the comic book style covers that we have now, instead of the cartoony city on fire that we would have had. As to the dodo and lack of planes, Rockstar did make statements to the point of, but this is a driving and shooting game, not a flying and shooting game. It would be silly to include planes. Aww. Of course it would be Rockstar. But still, back to the game. As I mentioned in my previous video, Claude Speed was the protagonist of GTA 2, a violent sociopath that allegedly looked like Elvis, and as I mentioned mere sentences ago, GTA 3 was meant to have a customized player character. But because of the time crunch, the character that we got is a silent, but not mute, man who looks vaguely like Elvis, and he's dressed in an alternate costume for Claude Speed from GTA 2 the movie. And both the source code and later games in the series refer to this character as Claude, and Rockstar won't officially comment on whether or not they're the same person. Well, based on the sheer badass level of Claude in GTA 3, I'd like to think they're the same person. The main argument against this stems from the fact the time of Anywhere USA in GTA 2 was supposed to be either in 1999 or 2014-ish. So in 2001 in GTA 3, Claude has either gone from urban mercenary to street urchin all over again, or Claude has to be like 14 in GTA 3, to which I reply, fuck it! GTA 2 has sci-fi weapons! What's to say Speed Racer here didn't find a time machine at Zaibatsu or hop into another dimension? I mean, really, it's only like a half a step up. Actually, that could cover something else in GTA 4, and nope, going on way too long, speculation over. At the start of this game, Claude Speed is seen robbing a bank with two other people, but after he rounds the corner to get to the getaway vehicle, his female partner shoots him in the chest and takes the money for herself. From here, Claude is swiftly sentenced for armed robbery and murder, and on his way to prison. On the way there, the armored truck that he's in gets stopped and his captor's knocked out. Then some nice men with guns take a little Chinese man from the back of the truck, and they leave you and your injured escapee friend to fend for yourselves, when they blow up a major city bridge. And that's where the game starts proper. Your black friend with the bandaged hands, 8-Ball, claims to have a safe house nearby, and ties to the Mafia. Once you get there, find a change of clothes, and do a few tutorial missions, the game, as well as the tiny New York-style island, roll away from you in a million different directions. And just like before, you can choose to do missions for people in the mob, or you can run around, drive about, exploring every nook and cranny of this new sandbox city for secrets, weapons, and challenges. Back are the strange ringing payphones that give you additional mission paths, and the pay and spray garages that make police and pursuers forget about you once your car has been fixed up a bit. In order to save progress, all you have to do is return to your latest safe house and take a nap, rather than donating a massive sum of money, and money has more of a point now, rather than your score or save fee, as you can purchase weapons from ammunition or back alley arms dealers. And the game design. Okay, game design certainly has its ups and downs. After all, it is a wacky criminal underworld simulator, but with a strange focus on realism sometimes. On one hand, there is realistic physics for jumping, realistic map design with traffic patterns, districts, and weather system that generally makes roads feel like you're on a fucking ice skating rink. In the middle ground, you can find speed, weapons, extra health shields, cars, and pickups all around the map. And on the far side of the spectrum, away from logical, you can earn money by making sweet jumps in vehicles. Cops lose interest if you go into a garage. And the characters are all archetypes taken from various action movies. And if you do choose to do favors for the various criminal heads, you'll find that when struck together, the missions make a very deep and involved story. However, a major pull of the 3D-verse, many of them presided over by Dan Houser, is the fact that many of the character actions and vignettes taking place are heavily based on or else outright lifted from crime drama and action movies. In GTA 3's case, I'd say it kind of follows the plot of Revenge, the Mel Gibson movie. Don't take that to heart though, this is still so much more than Revenge, the game. After escaping from the police, rather than lay low, Claude Speed opts to show up for little job interviews with the local underground. At first it's just little things, go pick up a car from a place, deliver a a Mafia Dahlia's girlfriend to a nightclub, but slowly Claude edges his way up the social ladder, getting more and more dangerous missions, and then suddenly the game flips into overdrive as you're forced to go on foot through a mission in Chinatown as you're suddenly asked to master firearms, all the while playing sitting duck to several triad enforcers at your back. And you would be surprised at how much money this game pitches Claude compared to the rest. Even the optional side mission cabs afford you a lot of hard-earned cash and or excitement. Jack a cab, get entire wads for speeding a passenger to an objective marker. Or jack first response vehicles and do first response stuff. You can even hijack cop cars and do assassination missions, or vigilante missions as they're called, on other criminals like a psycho fantasy Batman. What's that, the Punisher? Never heard of him. I don't know. I guess you can chalk it up to being heavily connected as far as the money goes. But after doing jobs for a downtown pimp, you get passed along to a loudmouth and his overbearing mother, and even the Don's son, Joey, who owns a garage in the warehouse district. To be perfectly honest, Luigi and Tony Cipriani are kind of demanding, but I like Joey. He seems to have a lot of class for his position, and I hope he makes it someday. Then you get to meet the Don, whose girlfriend we were ferrying around earlier. The Don... Have you ever met a very sweet, psychopathic killer? I know I went to middle school. After helping the Don out with the cartel and the triads and the Forellis, he sends you on one more little mission, and then my pager went off in-game, and for the first time it wasn't just being used to remind me of a new mission or tutorializing the controls. If you actually bother to read it just then, it's a warning from the Mafia Don's girlfriend, Maria. Apparently, she started talking some shit and needs to leave with you to Little Tokyo, and so the next portion of the map was unlocked, and I bid a temporary farewell to the back alleys and city streets I had come to know so well. Then I got introduced to a new section of map, and the bridge back to Mafia territory that was definitely not bombed by terrorists. We know, we checked, it was totally organized crime. I mean, with like 9 gangs and less than 10 square miles, why the hell wouldn't it be? Was finally repaired. From here, you start doing jobs for the Yakuza against your former bosses, and then start doing higher priced missions for a dirty cop, an arms dealer, Donald Love, and more random voices on the telephone, all the while thwarting your ex-partner and taking every chance to get even with that sadistic psycho bitch. Actually, have I met you somewhere? All this culminating in a final mission path wherein you mime your way into working with Asuka and Maria again to take down Catalina and the cartel. Sure, the game has its issues, but Grand Theft Auto 3's genius moments far outweigh its crap ones. Sure, the city is relatively small, but it's complex and manages to feel huge and yet memorable. Claude, for all his mute reflective glory, is never portrayed as moral. In cutscenes, the man will at least respect those who aren't outright trying to attack him, and will certainly explain your place in life if you attempt to get in his way. The game is hard, harder than you would think, but it certainly earns its name. Oftentimes, the places that you need to get to are so far away, and you are practically helpless, inches from death, so the only way to arm yourself and get away is to jack a car at the nearest stoplight. And the police are teleporting mercenaries from the 2.5 dimension. Listen to this. The render distance is roughly about 3/4 of a mile, and once an object goes beyond that, they are usually unspawned, which makes most racing and follow the leader missions a bit of an ass. Assuming you have a car fast enough, if you outrun the police, they despawn. Then suddenly, super time cops will spawn in, canceling all physics, except for your momentum, for about half a second. Once gravity and friction take a hold of your car again, the car will give a slight jerk as you hit the road. But that's not the part you should be worried about. If you're still driving incredibly fast after the jerk, slowly your car will accelerate past the maximum speed, and as you brake, looking back in a panic, you'll see that futuristic police cruisers of Liberty City have latched onto your bumper and have started pushing you past the speed of sound as an attempt to catch you. But now you're braking and Claude Speed can't swim, and truly the game has aged poorly. But it's an excellent introduction to the series, far better than GTA 80s, GTA Boys in the Hood, GTA Mafia, or GTA The Italian Job. There's no theme to get in the way of the straightforward underground crime pure power fantasy. And it is a power fantasy. In the end, you blow up the major villain, take out anyone else who would have done you wrong, and you own the freaking city. And it worked because it experimented with plot, physical architecture, secrets, and it knew what mechanics to keep from GTA 2, as well as the changing loyalties and the feeling that your actions have consequences in the rest of the game, even if you're making things worse. But it was great, right? I mean, the best one, right? I mean, the jump from 2D to 3D and... Oh, damn it! Not the worst routes a game could have. But hey, the jump from 2D to 3D never goes poorly, right? Right? No. Hey, have you picked up your tickets for Anime Banzai this year? It's the largest anime convention held in Utah almost every year. This October, it'll be held the 19th through the 21st, with pre-registration events on the 18th, at the Davis Conference Center in Layton, Utah. All forms of animation are welcome. Games, movies, TV shows, actual anime, etc. Although, keep it kosher, guys. They do strive for a family-friendly environment after all. Pre-registration, the link's below, and pre-registration ends on August 31st. It's about $40 for a 3-day weekend pass. This year's theme is superheroes versus villains. There's also a scavenger hunt going on involving the characters from Yu Yu Hakusho, and hey, you might even see myself or other children from the sanctuary. Don't be a stranger.